All right. Let me bring up the, holy cow. I'm sorry. This is not good. I should have had this up before. Okay. Let's see if it lets me share the screen. There we go. Okay, we're officially started. Thank you so much to our wing sponsors. As you know, we have some ladies and a few gents in there that help provide events like this at a low cost for our members. So I definitely, we appreciate your support of women in business and our business community, our chamber members. Porty Brown, Becky Kirshner, Integrity Financial, Habitat for Humanity of McHenry County, University Movers, the Care Group, Nicor Gas, and Think Big Go Local are our sponsors for the 2021 season of our wings. So we always give a chance for our sponsors to say a little something extra if they're here. Looking at the list, I think Kate is our only sponsor who's on the call today. So Kate from Think Big Go Local, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong thing. Kate from Porty Brown, if you want to say a few words.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I'm Kate Malmstead from Porty Brown. We're a local CPA firm located over by the hospital in McHenry. We also have locations in Elk Grove, Elgin, and Tinley Park. Right now, we're working with our clients to get their tax returns filed and prepared on time. We're also working with them to ensure that they have applied for PPP loan forgiveness. So if you know of anyone that could use our services, please feel free to contact me. Thank you.
Great. And then we're going to go around and do introductions very quickly. Please keep it to, 15, 20 seconds, just your name, your business, and if you have a quick tagline, that would be great. And we'll go in order of what we've got on here. So Ellen.
Let's see. Okay. Hi, I'm Ellen Corey, Coaching by Corey, empowering my clients to move forward with confidence in their personal and their business lives. Ellen, Coaching by Corey.
Thanks, Ellen. Tendai.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tendai Esquilin. I'm not feeling well today, so I'm opting not to be on video. I hope that's okay. And I'm with Mitzi, which is a small nonprofit in Kenosha.
Great, thank you. Jerry Condon.
Hi, Jerry Condon with Capture Your Path Counseling. I help people through the challenges and struggles of life with their mental health.
Beth.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am on the road, so to not make everybody dizzy and moving around, I do have just my photo up. I'm with First Light Home Care, and we provide in-home non-medical care wherever someone might consider home. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Lais.
Good afternoon, everyone. So nice to see you. My name is Lais with Stratus Communications. If IT is not your favorite thing in the world, if you don't like to manage that stuff in your company, that's what we do for you. You can outsource everything for us and we'll manage the technology for you. So Stratus Communications, Lais Titan. Thanks so much. So nice to be here.
Great, thank you. Lori.
Hi, everyone. I am driving as well, so I'm just going to share. Lori Parrish with Parrish Coaching and Consulting. I'm a life and leadership coach, changing the world one conversation at a time by helping you strengthen and raise your conversational intelligence. Lori Parrish with Parrish Coaching and Consulting.
Great, thank you. Maureen.
Hi, everyone. Maureen Frigette, Century 21 Roberts and Andrews. I'm a residential and commercial real estate broker in Illinois and Wisconsin. Maureen Frigette, Century 21 Roberts and Andrews.
Thanks, Maureen. Stephanie.
Hey, sorry, I had my camera off just because I looked tired. So this is my first Wings session, so thank you for having me. I do the marketing for the airport in Milwaukee, so Milwaukee Mitchell. Peter invited me on a chamber Zoom session last time, and so I was determined to get involved in more things. So thank you for having me on this today.
Great, thank you for being here. Susie.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, hello. No.
Very light.
Okay. Can you hear me now? I'm using a new system, so I don't know if it's working. Is it not working? Can you hear me now?
It's somewhat better, Susie.
Is that better? No? Okay, I'm using a new system. I'll do the chat. I'll chat with you guys, okay?
No, you
'Cause I
can
don't know
talk.
if it's
We can
working.
hear you. We can.
Oh, you can hear me. Okay,
Yeah,
Susie
go.
Frank, Grab with Bo. Thoughtful gift giving. I have a new location up in Richmond that is fantastic. Everybody has to come. All my Wings ladies will be invited. So sorry you can't see me because I know you want to, but I'm trying a new system. So great to be here and looking forward to this topic for sure. That's
Great.
it. Susie, Grab with Bo.
Thanks, Susie. Pete.
Pete Galt, Membership Director for the McHenry Area Chamber of Commerce.
All right. All right, anybody I was missing? I think you guys kind of jump whenever you talk. So I think I got everybody on here. For those of you that don't know me, I guess I didn't introduce myself, Molly Ostep, the McHenry Chamber President. So thank you all for being here. We are very excited to have Chrissie on today. I'm just going to do a quick introduction for Chrissie and then let her kind of take it from there. So we're excited. Chrissie was working for the Detroit Lions. I find this very interesting. In 2005, had the honor of opening their Facebook account as well as their Twitter and Instagram, and decided after working for this pretty impressive client that she was going to go out on her own and do this on her own. So she is a very impressive woman. We are thrilled to have her. Chrissie, you want to take it from there?
Sure, you guys are fun. All right. So let me start by sharing my screen. And then give me a second, because when we do the online stuff, it's like your screen goes away because you're doing the presentation piece. So give me a moment. Let's go to, I couldn't start with this because, there we go. And I can still see you. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so as Molly said, thank you for having me. My name is Chrissie. I'll actually get into a little bit more of my background when we go through the presentation, but as of right now, my business is E-Link Consulting, which specializes in LinkedIn marketing for influencers and businesses. And then I also am the Chief Marketing Communications Officer for Team 84, which is owned by a former Detroit Lions wide receiver. So we are friends and colleagues. So I do a lot, basically. I have a lot to do. So I'm really excited to be here and talk to you guys about LinkedIn. So I'm going to start, before I talk a little bit about myself, I want to ask, and if anyone wants to chime in, how often are you posting to LinkedIn? Who's posting to LinkedIn? Does anyone have anything? Okay,
I did a long time ago, but it's been a while.
So usually what we end up getting, oh yeah, we can do the chat. Okay, all about LinkedIn. So sometimes you have people who are regular posters. Sometimes you have people who say that they haven't logged in years, but they still get the notifications. And how can we turn those off? You know, we always get those. So for me, I tend to post once a week, once a month, but the big thing about LinkedIn that I think you might not, I don't know if you believe me or not, but that LinkedIn is actually quite a bit like Instagram. It's quite a bit of an influencer space. And a lot of the content that actually works on Instagram does actually work well on LinkedIn. They kind of have the same sort of consumers or audience in what they're looking to ingest. So I gotta use my mouse. So this actually is the owner of Team 84 LLC. His name's Herman Moore. And this is a post that we did a couple of years ago. And the reason that I'm highlighting this post is because it's really important that we recognize the moment when we're posting on LinkedIn. And it's something I try to speak with my clients about. And it's that these, sometimes people think that you have to have this epic event or this huge reason to post on social media or make something public. But in reality, a lot of the time, it's just recognizing very small moments that can have an impact on people when you post them to LinkedIn or another social platform. So for this particular moment, Herman was at an event. This was pre-pandemic, and he was at a high school football game. And this particular fan had been a Lions fan for an extremely long time. And he didn't ask for it, but Herman gave him his jersey, signed it, and gave it to him. So he had actually sent me the picture on the left. But then when I was on Twitter, the high school actually posted the picture on the right. So I was able to use both. And as you can see, the post went pretty crazy. And the great thing about LinkedIn that you should definitely keep in mind, as much as Herman's an influencer, at the time, he didn't really have very many LinkedIn followers. He had maybe 2,000 or 3,000. And what is great about LinkedIn is that if you put something up that is worthy of engagement, it can spread regardless of how many people you actually have following you. So that's one of the great opportunities about LinkedIn, is that if you can find some great content, you can recognize the moment, you can really capitalize on it regardless of how many followers you have today. So Molly mentioned that I worked for the Detroit Lions. So I wanted to go into sports when I was in high school. Actually, I started wanting to do baseball and ended up getting an internship for the Detroit Lions in 2004. I oversaw, quote unquote, new media, is what it was called, overseeing the website. And then I was able to oversee the social media platforms when they started in about 2007, which was a really fantastic opportunity. So if you look at this, I'm the world's best photo bomber, because I was basically there to capture for social. And so all of these professional photos managed to capture me in the background. So this gentleman, number 81, he broke the all-time receiving yards record, broke Jerry Rice's record in 2011. And I popped up in many photos in the background. It was kind of my claim to fame that year. So why do we use LinkedIn? So there's a lot of different reasons that you can use LinkedIn. And if you're B2B, there's an especially great reason to use it. You can find leads, find clients, hiring. It's a great way to use. If you've ever used Recruiter, it's a really great tool. You can get speaking opportunities, and you can honestly just gain notoriety in your industry just from building relationships on the platform. It's kind of like being at a networking event, but online. And one thing about LinkedIn now is post-pandemic, I think a lot of people have recognized that there really is a great opportunity online. Kind of the skeptics that really believed we always needed to be in person have really started to recognize that there is a genuine opportunity just being online. So what do people do wrong on LinkedIn? I'm sure that probably every single person on this call has been a victim of bad pitching. You probably received those awesome private messages asking if you have a website, and then sending you a full sales page worth of copy as though you'll be really interested because they sent that to you. Other things people do wrong, being a copycat. So when and that kind of pairs with not being authentic. I'm a really big advocate for being authentic and trying to do what someone else is doing when it's not really you as a way to try to be successful tends to not work. One of the biggest things people do wrong, and they don't recognize it, is post format. So, it's really important that we capture people's attention as quickly as possible. We only have a few seconds to get them to stop the scroll. And so if your post isn't formatted correctly and it doesn't capture attention, people will just keep scrolling. And it can be, how you have it put together can be the difference between a really successful post and one that doesn't really gain a lot of traction. So the primary reasons that I have found professionals don't pay attention to LinkedIn is that there's this time and overwhelm, and coupling that with no plan. What I tend to get from people is that they go to log into LinkedIn, they kind of get on there, and then they're like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Look around, it's overwhelming. Am I supposed to post? Am I supposed to comment? What am I supposed to do? I have no idea. The really great thing is that if you have a plan, you can actually be really successful on LinkedIn with, 10 minutes a day. Just going in, knowing exactly what you want to do, checking the platform, commenting, connecting. All of these things can be done in kind of a smaller amount of time when you have a very definitive plan. So I look at as the Get Real framework. There's 4 different steps in order to generate success on LinkedIn. And I look at it as a framework, not a formula. And it's very important to look at it that way because you'll see a lot of different approaches on LinkedIn. It's one of the interesting things that I've found. I have a friend and fellow business owner, and she has a Pinterest consulting agency. And one thing that she told me was that when you look at Pinterest, there's a lot of different people that are Pinterest consultants, but they all tend to think the same way. They all have kind of the same general strategy when it comes to Pinterest. LinkedIn is all over the board. You will find one person telling you to do one thing, and then another person will tell you to do the complete opposite. It can be very confusing. My rule of thumb, pick someone who you like, and typically that means that it might work for you. Pick someone who you genuinely, feel a bit of a kinship with, and that can actually help. But in terms of using the Get Real framework, these parameters will help you to generate relevant leads, which that can be a paid lead. It could be your lead might be someone that hires you to speak. A lead might be somebody that is a partner within your business. It'll help you grow your network, and then you can also be seen as an industry expert. So when we look at the Get Real framework, the R stands for relevant connections. So it's very important when you're connecting with people, look at it almost like the sales funnel. And when you look at a sales funnel, you're putting as many people as you can into the funnel, and then they ultimately trickle down into becoming a lead or what you're looking to get out of the platform. We want to bring in relevant connections, though. We don't want to just bring in anybody and everybody. So you've probably experienced this, as I have, this whole pitch fatigue thing that we've unfortunately have to deal with on LinkedIn a lot of the time. So this was one example that I had where this person sent me 3 messages within a month, and clearly it was automated, and clearly it was not tailored to me at all because I don't have an advertising industry, and that was referenced twice. And then in the last one, she said she hopes my summer is off to a great start. It was August 23rd. So summer's pretty much over at that point. So it's really important from my vantage point. I don't like automation. I like having a bit of a personal touch when we're reaching out to people and doing so intentionally. And that when we do reach out to people intentionally, we can generate results. So this is a longtime client of mine. She's extremely successful. She's fantastic. Her name is Blair Thielemeyer, and she's a pharmacist. She became a consultant pharmacist when she was fired from her, or she was let go from her full-time position. She was actually pregnant at the time and decided to start doing consulting, and she loved it and ended up, she's just a great business owner. She ended up creating an academy for other pharmacists to do the same thing. And it's a membership model, but she has a niche audience, which is clinical pharmacists. And when you have a very specific audience, it helps you to really narrow down on who you want to add to your network so that you can generate those leads, generate customers, generate clients. And she's been extremely successful with it. People seek her out on LinkedIn, and her business is booming. So she's had, since we've been working together, so it's been a couple years, She's up about 2,000 followers, and she's just killing it. So I don't know how many of you have used Sales Navigator. I really wish I got a commission. I love Sales Navigator. It's a fantastic tool to help you narrow down individuals who you do want to connect with. It's essentially a CRM on the LinkedIn platform. It's $80 a month. And even if you aren't using it to engage specifically with that tool, even just the search function can really benefit you. So when you look at this, for example, Navigator has many more fields that you can use to narrow down your search. So here we've got, with Navigator, the search is the Detroit metro area, second and third degree connections, which if you don't know what that is, first degree means you're connected, second means you have one connection in common, and third means you're further than that. You can put that the company's privately held, and you can look at the different position or the seniority levels that you want to search. You end up with 15,000 results. If you don't have Navigator, you can search the Detroit area. You can say you want second degree connections, and you end up with 111, almost 112,000 results. So you can see that you're able to be a lot more specific. With Navigator, also, my favorite field is that you can narrow it to posted on LinkedIn in the past 30 days, which to me is fantastic because you narrow out those people who are the ones who haven't logged in years. So you know that these people are actually posting, and so that when you spend your time reaching out to them, you actually might get a response as opposed to sending it to kind of a dead platform or a dead profile that no one's paying any attention to. So here you go, 10 times more people were your results. Just within Navigator, and 1,500 people is a lot of people. But now you actually know that they've all posted within the last month. So the next step as we go forward after connections, and I can ask if they don't have any questions about connections, I'll stop and ask. All right, great. Feel free to just cut in if you want. So the next one is engaging content. So this is very important. So as we're looking to bring in the relevant connections, we need them to self-select. We want them to recognize that they want to work with us. And the way that we do that is by creating content that engages them and gets them to develop a relationship with us. The key is that we want them to get to know us. We want them to understand who we are. And once they understand who we are, they take a look and go, oh, well, who is this person? I want to understand what they do. And from there, they might refer you to somebody. They might, talk about you. If someone says, hey, do you know anyone who does LinkedIn? It might be an offline conversation. So there's different ways that content can really help you generate results. So this is a client of mine. Her name's Lori Taylor, and she is the produce mom. And so for her, she's really focused on marketing for growers and shippers in agriculture. And she's generated a lot of success from her content in terms of being in and around fruits and vegetables and with the marketing that she does. So in the last couple of years, her company page has grown 400%. And then her personal followers have doubled. So it's been, focusing on what she's doing as a business and just kind of following her through what she does and just posting it, and it generates a lot of excitement. So one of the things that I mentioned in terms of something people don't do well on LinkedIn is post format. And this is one example of that. So when you're posting on LinkedIn, it's really important that you capture the attention of the people who are scrolling so that they stop and pay attention to what it is you're saying. One of the biggest things is what are the first 3 lines of your post, because those will always be visible, but in order for them to see more of what you post, they need to actually click see more. So we need to make sure that those first 3 lines are like a journalism lead. So you want to put whatever's going to capture the most attention in those first 3. Now, this is a great example. I was actually at a presentation with this individual, and he was showing these 2 posts that he did. And I thought it was really interesting because they're basically the exact same post, but one, the visual was significantly better than the other. So for here, like basically what he was trying to showcase is that people would reach out to him with solicitation and they would lead with me, 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 me. They would talk about themselves first. And he wanted to showcase that with this post. You can see that the one on the left with the red ovals is significantly clearer. You can recognize more of what he's trying to say. And then on the right-hand side, it's a little muddier. You can't necessarily see what he's trying to convey. And the difference in the response for these two posts is crazy. So you can see that he had almost, you'd call maybe the LinkedIn viral post on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side, it had some response, but not really a ton. So you can see that the readability, having a clear image that people can see is really important. So this is something that I convey to people. Some people are very uncomfortable with it, but it's important to recognize that engagement goes beyond business. And some people get in their mind that, you know, the whole, this isn't Facebook thing, but when we work with people, we get to know them on a certain level. And if we only talked business 24 hours a day, it would get extremely boring. We do have to know who people are, what they stand for, and it helps develop that relationship. So this is one example of that. I posted about age in our culture and showed, you know, me back in the day. This picture on the upper left is me from 2004 as a little intern, and what I got to do, and just talking about what you learn with age and how that's something that's actually should be celebrated. It shouldn't be looked at as, you know, you're getting older, therefore you're more irrelevant or you're not as exciting or whatever the case may be. And the post did really well. So it's something that it related to business. So it did have a tie. I wasn't just posting about something extremely random. So I could bring it back to business, but it went beyond just talking shop, so to speak. So the next piece of this framework is the algorithm or the visibility. It's important to recognize that you are on a third-party platform. You are on borrowed land, so to speak. And so you're not just doing, it's not just apples to apples. You know, it's important that you recognize what the platform wants you to do. So whenever I'm posting on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, it's important to know, what does the platform actually want you to do? What does the business want you to do? Because if you play by their rules in that regard, you will do better. So LinkedIn likes you to comment. So they like you to talk on other people's posts as well as your own. So the more you engage a post, the more visible it becomes. So if you post and someone comments on your post, engage that person in conversation. You know, don't just say thanks. Maybe say thanks and ask them a question so that they then respond to you. So continue that thread going, and that helps to push it out further. When you're commenting on other people's posts, not only does it help because LinkedIn sees that you're spreading engagement, which is what they want, but you're also putting your name and your headline, which is the little title that's with your account. And so people can see what you do when you're commenting on their posts. They're also kind of doing some free advertising when you comment. Connecting is important. LinkedIn wants you to continue connecting with people, but they want you to do so, quote unquote, responsibly. And then content. So they want you to post. So next is giving your audience what they want. So one thing that I talk to clients about is that it's important that you test what it is that you think will do well. Sometimes we think that something will do really well and it just doesn't. And it's kind of sad when that happens. But a lot of the time your audience will see pieces of your personality or see certain things that you do, and they will respond a lot better to those things than something else. So for example, when I have posted questions, people have really responded well to that on my particular feed. People kind of like my snark a little bit. So if I get a little annoyed with things, specifically people that do LinkedIn bad, people respond well to that. And then they've done pretty well. LinkedIn likes videos. One thing to know too, when you're doing videos, because of the way LinkedIn tracks them, you're going to want to multiply your views in a video by 3 to make it equitable to your text or photo posts. because people have to watch a video for at least 3 seconds for it to count as a view. So just keep that in mind so you don't get too depressed. If you post a video and you think it's not doing as well as your other posts, multiply it by 3. So how do you generate leads? This is the final piece of the framework, is we're looking at leads. So this is one of the things that I think gets missed the most. And it's that people want leads. You know, if you're excited for leads, sometimes people get a little overexcited, they get a little desperate. I always say desperate's never a good look. So if you're in a place where you really need some business right now, and you want to just talk to everybody and ask them for business right now, that doesn't necessarily go over well depending on what field you're in and what you're offering. So when it comes to LinkedIn, I say that number 1 is targeting. It is, can you easily determine who it is that will purchase from you, become a client, become a partner, whoever it is that you're looking to connect with? How easy is it for you to identify specifically who those people are? So this is my little spectrum here, and LinkedIn kind of messed up my my gradient. It should be green on the right. But the biggest thing for me is, can you easily identify a need? So one of kind of the cheesy examples that I use is, do you manufacture doorknobs and you're selling to door companies? So that is a very clear need, right? So if I'm going to be selling to door companies, I can reach out to them and say, hey, I make doorknobs. Would you like mine? And that company will see that there's a clear reason for you to be reaching out. It's relevant, and they probably won't be too irritated because, okay, these people clearly know that this is something that I need. I may not need yours, and I may not need them now, but hey, no, thank you, or maybe they say, I'll think about it, or we'll have a call, or whatever the case may be. So that type of a targeting, you can 100% go with a cold pitch, retarget with your content. It's something that will be effective. And when I say you can, I mean effective. You can do whatever you want, but whether it's effective or not, that's what we're looking at. Now, in terms of not pitching, if you're more of a generalist, if you need to speak to someone to know if they're a good fit, that's when you're looking to do kind of the pull in as many people that are in the right bucket as you can, and then help them to self-select by posting content that is relevant to them. So that's where we might not pitch, but when we reach out, we might use our custom message to just state what we do. So it's kind of that awareness piece in the sales funnel. So now they know what you do. And every once in a while, someone will say, you know what, I really do need what you're providing right now. You might stumble across somebody, but for the most part, the goal is just to let them know what you do, tell them that you want to add them to your network, and then nurture them with content. One thing to keep in mind as a best practice, stay geographically local, because that makes you relevant no matter what. So as you reach out to somebody and you're just trying to add people to your network that you don't know personally, but they're relevant to your business, if you stick geographically, people will typically be okay with that because they recognize that, you're in my area, you're trying to network in my area, it makes you automatically relevant. So here's a client example, and this was also geographic. He's in Salt Lake City, and he was a developer, and he was very specific about what he was targeting. He was targeting individuals who were starting their second business. So they're a business owner, and they're starting their second business that was a SaaS platform. And so we were very specific in what we reached out with. So we were able to specifically target, and then we had a specific ask. And ultimately, and these are high ticket items. That's another thing that's great when you're doing the specific LinkedIn lead gen, if it's a high ticket item. So we're looking at 6 figures. So we ended up doing about 200 requests. He had 18 leads and ended up with 2 clients out of it. So it was extremely successful. Here's another one that was very specific. And it was, again, geographically centered. So these are property managers in 3 counties in the Boston area. So this is a tree removal company. And so they know specifically that the people they're reaching out to it's likely they're going to need a tree removal service at some point. So the purpose of this was reaching out cold to property managers in the area and letting them know this is what we do. We'd like to just set up a call so you can get to know us and what we do. And he ended up with 18 calls set up. And then the other thing that you can do with Sales Navigator is you can do warm reach out. So you can actually filter through the people that you already are connected with and see if they're in the right category for you to reach out. So we did those warm reach outs as well. So people he was already connected with, and that ended up with 8 calls. So recapping the framework. So we're looking at relevant connections. So you want to make sure that you're always adding people to your network who are in whatever bucket that you're looking to engage. So think through, who do I want to buy from me, partner with me, invite me to an event, and stick with those individuals. And again, you're always relevant if it's geographic. So if you are somebody that's more of a generalist and you're just looking for, like, for example, I work with business owners and it doesn't really matter what industry it's in. I just need somebody that's a business owner. Sticking with your actual geographic area can help in terms of making it relevant. Engaging content. So this is the way that we get people to self-select and recognize that we are a good fit for them with whatever it is that we're providing. So we can post engaging content about who we are as a professional. We can post about what we do. My rule of thumb is that when you do post to LinkedIn, you want to entertain, you want to inspire, or you want to inform. And that should really stick with who you are as an individual. Don't try to be someone that you're not. This doesn't mean that you have to post all of your personal data to LinkedIn, but find a piece of yourself that's authentic and go with that. If you're somebody that's generally funny, entertain people. If you're somebody who really is kind of, I just want to, help people understand a certain thing, go with that. It's whatever excites you, whatever you really feel compelled to share, people will feel that in the post. It's kind of might seem a little hard to believe, but people can actually feel when you're posting something that you're behind, as opposed to just, I guess I have to post to LinkedIn, I'll just put something up. Keep the algorithm in mind, keep visibility in mind. So try to follow the best practices of the platform so that when you do put up content that people want to engage with, it follows the certain algorithm rules so that the most people will be able to see it. And then finally, work to generate leads, focus on your targeting, and really determine whether this is something that you should do more of a direct ask, or if you want to make it more general, and then filter it down. So why do we use LinkedIn? We want to find leads and clients. We don't really go into hiring very much, but you can use Recruiter. If you are looking to hire, that's another great tool, just like Sales Navigator. It can help you with partnerships, speaking, and you can become kind of a notable individual in your industry, or you can even become kind of LinkedIn famous. Some people get to where they develop such a great rapport with individuals and they develop this little fan club, and they can end up to where people actually really know you on LinkedIn, which is, it can be fun. For some people that might be scary. I actually have a LinkedIn profile optimization checklist. You can get it on my website. I can also send the link along for you guys. But you want to start by optimizing your LinkedIn profile. So your LinkedIn profile is your sales page. So whenever you post on LinkedIn and you post some engaging content, the first thing someone's going to do is they're going to click on your name. They want to know who you are. And you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile guides them through the sales process or informs them the best way possible, who you are and what you do. Another aspect of optimizing your profile is making sure you have relevant keywords. As you saw with Sales Navigator, people spend $80 per month to search. So you want to make sure that you have relevant keywords within your profile so that if you are a company, like let's say I'm looking for a web designer in my area, you want to make sure that your profile has all the appropriate keywords so that if I'm looking for that, your profile comes up. You want to make sure you're sending connection requests, and then you want to make sure you're posting, commenting, connecting. So remember, don't forget to recognize the moment. And these are very small things that you can see that can translate into great buzz on the platform. So this is Blair, who we met earlier. And these are two very small moments that we're able to take from an image, which was very, the image kind of pulls people in. Kids always do that. If you do have kids that you're comfortable sharing. But with the one on the left, this was about her purchasing her new home, and she's an entrepreneur. And so it was a way on LinkedIn to show that she was succeeding in what she was doing. And LinkedIn loves that kind of stuff. So it ended up with over 30,000 views on the post. And then the other one, which this is just a scholarship post. So this was where she was looking to give away an Academy scholarship, which is her online membership site. And we just used, I said, do you have a picture of your kids or a family photo? And adorable kids will draw the eye every time. And so people were reacting to that, and it amplified the post. So it put 10,000 plus views. So as I said earlier, desperate's never a good look. So even if you are doing fantastic right now, don't wait until you have no leads available to you to get started. It's best to start when you're doing really well or when you don't necessarily need to. But if you are in a place of famine where you do need leads, just try to kind of keep in mind that there is some patience. It can be a long-term play, but it's really where you're nurturing this process, and that can really help you to gain visibility and, you know, get to a point where you've got the right network on LinkedIn and you can generate leads and referrals. So, oh, well, this did not work. So anyway, this says be genuine, not a formula, and be real. PowerPoint messed that up for me. But just as we talked about at the beginning in terms of Instagram, LinkedIn is a lifestyle marketing platform. LinkedIn users want to see people living. It's almost like they want kind of a camera going on, what are you doing? You know, you can go to a meeting and post a little selfie and people think that's fantastic. So it's a lifestyle platform. So it's almost like you want people to, I don't want to say they want people to envy you, but you just want to treat yourself like you're a life that people want to follow. You're a person that people want to follow. And the more you do that and kind of give a little insight into what makes you you, people want to develop that relationship with you. And that ultimately can turn into leads, referrals, things like that. One thing to keep in mind also as you're moving forward with content, as you pull in people to your network who are in the relevant bucket, those individuals may or may not engage your content. Kind of an unofficial, official stat on LinkedIn is that the people who become your fan club, the people who engage your content, rarely are the ones who actually purchase from you. Typically, the people who purchase from you kind of just wait in the weeds and watch. And then you end up with a random outreach or a random message that gets sent to you. And someone will say something like, you know what, I've been watching your content for 3 months and I really like it. I'd like to work with you. These lurkers, call them lurkers, but they tend to be the ones that buy from you. You tend to not know them until they actually reach out. So that's just something to keep in mind. Don't get discouraged if you're adding people that are in the right bucket and you don't see them engaging with your with your content. A lot of the time, those people will just watch. It is all about relationships. So keep that in mind as you're looking to move forward with this. Try to develop relationships with people through commenting on their posts, engaging with people that are commenting on yours, and recognize that as you bring people who are in the right network or in the right bucket, remember that LinkedIn pushes content out. So as you have those first degree connections, when you post, they push it to the second degree connections. So if you're connecting with people in your geographic area, if you're connecting with people in the right industry, you're thinking that those people are more than likely connected with people that are relevant to you. So when you bring in people that are in a certain bucket, also recognize that you're getting one step closer to their networks. And you're hoping that as you do that, you get even more relevance with the networks that you're getting your content pushed out to. And that is it. So if there's any questions, we can take up the rest of the time with that. No, I didn't need to do that. I'll stop my share. Somebody's
Okay,
got to
well,
have a
if
question.
I do actually, because I've been on LinkedIn since it was around.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I ever used to use it for was to source people in roles that I wanted to connect to sell to. I used to own staffing companies, so I wanted to go after the people who were responsible for hiring, but we didn't do that on LinkedIn. We just sourced who they were and then went.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what I use, if I do post pretty much 5 days a week, and I just send out shares when I'm doing the other job, not the chamber job, but I'll share out links to videos and such, and then from that, and I don't really see much with it. You get a little response, what have you, but I'll share those into LinkedIn groups that I'm a member of. Do those work the same way? Like when you share something from a page in Facebook and you share it into a group, Facebook exponentially, spreads what you share because Facebook really, really likes groups. Does LinkedIn treat those the same way?
I have heard that there are some groups that are still alive, which I find shocking personally.
Okay.
But if you have one, go with it. But exactly what you said, Facebook has leaned on groups. It's almost like those are your message boards these days. That's primarily why I use Facebook, actually. They also collect a lot of data that way. But anyway, LinkedIn is really focused on getting people to engage in their core feed. They're looking to generate that conversation. To me, one of the ways that you look at it is, would you even know that you were a part of a group these days if you didn't actually seek it out actively? Because there aren't really a lot of notifications around them. So that would lead me to believe that LinkedIn's not really looking to push anybody there. For a hot second, they tried, I think, to re-inject something into it, and it didn't go anywhere. So from what I've seen with LinkedIn, the best way that they're really looking for people to engage is in the feed. Okay. And just kind of generate conversation. Another thing that they've semi-recently shifted to is actually trying to amplify pages, the business pages, because as you said, and you'll probably remember this because if you've been around since the start of LinkedIn, it started where the companies that were the big ones or the big news outlets were getting all of the real estate in the feed. So you'd see like Forbes, you'd see CNN, you'd see all of this. And so LinkedIn almost suppressed company pages so that the individual could be amplified, but then that killed small business pages. So it's like you'd have a small business page and literally the only reason you had it was so your logo would show up on your profile. Right. And so people could go to the page and see what it was. Kind of recently, they re-injected some activity into the business page, and now you can invite people to go to your business page, and they're actually making it to where it will show up in a feed. So company pages are getting a little bit more traction. So if there's anything, that might be kind of the next thing that LinkedIn was looking to do.
Well, that's good to know. They're really, because I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, I was gonna say, like they try things and sometimes it doesn't work so well. Like they tried stories, which I loved the idea of stories, but then I have so many business pages that I manage because it's what I do. And they put every business page in the story slots to prompt you to post to them. Well, what that did was it pushed everybody else's stories out of my feed. So I just never engaged with them because I wasn't getting prompted. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No, but that's, I mean, I kind of abandoned the business page thing long ago. I put very little to no emphasis on it just because you're right. That was just, well, we get our logo to show up by having one, and then just walked away from it. So that's good to know. I don't actually engage a lot on LinkedIn. I'll throw a post there because it's real easy to go, when because I live stream every single morning, and I do that on a couple of platforms. It's real easy from like YouTube or wherever to go share LinkedIn, blah, and then I'm done. And then sometimes I'll go back and try sharing it to groups, but I don't think it. And I'm glad you explained that because I'm thinking I don't think groups actually do anything on LinkedIn anymore.
Yeah. I don't think they do either.
What about the whole hashtag thing? Is that relevant? Because I know LinkedIn prompts you when you're doing a post to put hashtags.
Mhm.
And so I'll pick a few that I think are relevant to the post, but is that
I think they act a little bit as keywords, and it kind of helps LinkedIn's algorithm push it out to people that are interested in different things. It's just something that I kind of can take my best guess. But if you look up hashtags, it will show you which are the most popular, which ones have the most followers. So, some have millions and millions of followers. So, it's best to and apparently the rule of thumb is to do 3 hashtags.
Oh, okay.
A lot of it is kind of trial and error, do it, see what works, see what doesn't. Because I spend so much time in LinkedIn, I just make educated guesses a lot of the time. And there's also a human element to the LinkedIn algorithm, which is interesting. They actually have people who can amplify a post or kill a post. So that's something that's interesting as well. I posted something about what behavior of yours has changed since the pandemic, and it got like 1,000 views in a matter of like 10 minutes.
Wow.
So somebody on LinkedIn side decided they wanted to push that out, and they did. And, it's interesting. So, just try, you want to also kind of just test. Testing is good.
I have a question.
Sure.
Hi. So here's the thing. So I work for an IT company, and in this field, things can get very technical. So I have like plenty of ideas to just get the company's page more authentic, or including like funny things, or even pictures of us as employees, just engaging the company and our new office and everything. But sometimes I'm afraid that it won't look as professional, especially because of the field, So what is the line? Like, what is good and what's not good to do in this case?
My personal opinion is that you want to go with, my first question to you would be, what's the personality of the company? If you have a company that's filled with a bunch of goofballs that enjoy being silly all the time, and that's actually who you are, it will resonate well. If it's just a shtick and you're just trying to use it as a way to get people to engage, but it's not actually who you are, it more than likely won't come across the right way. So it's really kind of going through your brand and going through, what is your business? Like, what does your business stand for? Like, how do you guys engage with each other? Are you very serious? If you are very serious, then be serious. But it really is like when you're looking at I don't want to say commodity, but something that's just kind of like accounting or IT or website, you have to set yourself apart in a way that's not just, we do accounting. Like, a lot of accounting firms do accounting. So you've got to find a way to separate yourself. And typically that's by developing the relationship. So you develop the relationship by saying, okay, who are we as a company? How do we engage as a company? And then kind of putting that out there that way. So when I look at people with content, I do content buckets for people. So I'll ask you, more about yourself, about your background, about the business. And then I pull from that, what types of things, like maybe as an IT company, maybe you guys get together monthly and have, I don't know, maybe you do philanthropy together. There's a company I recently worked with. They do monthly give backs. So they go out and volunteer as the company. So like, that's a good way to show what you're doing as a company. It has nothing to do with what they do professionally, but it gives insight into who they are and allows people to connect with them. You can also spotlight the people in your company, so maybe you go through everybody that's there and talk about who are they, what do they do, what are their favorite things, and so you go through. Human elements is what people relate to. Stories is what people relate to.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. That was great. Those were great, really great tips.
Okay, good, because I talked a lot, so I'm glad it went well. Anybody else?
I actually have another question if nobody else is going to jump.
Go for it.
So, okay, here's the thing. So as I said, I work for an IT company, but I'm a marketer. So I do marketing and sales for the company, but I also have a life apart from that. And I don't want to put in my profile, like my personal profile, everything just like selling the company, because I do
Mhm.
other things. Like I'm a member of the American Marketing Association. I volunteer for different reasons. And so I want to include that, but at the same time, I want people, when they visit my profile, they can know that I can also sell that service, or the company I work for can do that service for them. So it's very hard to manage the connections like that. Is there like a better way to structure your profile to be both things?
What's the other? So you have the IT company, and then what else are you trying to do? Just connect with other clients?
No, I want to be, I have my profile as a marketer, not only doing marketing for IT, but just as a professional marketer. So like, I would love to that's kind of what I do, to connect with other marketers and just grow my network in that area that is nothing related to IT.
Okay, yeah, let me share my screen. Where is it coming? Let me find the right screen. Why is it not doing? Hold on. Stick with me. There we go. Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm not logged in as myself. Let's log in as myself. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw that I wasn't logged in as myself. Okay. So there's a few sections that you can take advantage of. I'm the same way. So I have actually, to a degree, 2 full-time jobs. So as you look at this, you want to look at your headline number 1. You want to look at your headline number 1 as a way to maximize what it is that you're looking to give off. So the first few characters here, whatever it is that you want to give off, make sure that that's at the start. The other thing is you can have multiple current positions. So at points throughout my life, I've had 5. So, you can add as many as you want, and you can order them however you want. So whichever one you want to be at the top, to have top billing, so to speak, you can put that at the top, but you can have as many as you need. You also have your about section. So this is the same thing in terms of the post, where you have like your top 3 lines. You're going to have your top 3 lines here. So if there's something that you want to draw people's attention to, you can start here. So if you want to talk about the fact that you're a marketer and doesn't have to be focused on the company that you work with, you can put that up here. I also very, very much love, like one of the few things that LinkedIn did that I really loved is this featured section. It really puts things front and center. So, you could very easily post, multiple things here that have, one might have to do with one company, one might have to do with another company, but you can almost use these kind of as prominent buckets to put different things in. And then finally, people are going to go to this page to get to know more about you, but you can really cater your content to it, so you can cater your content to the different things that you're doing. And that's actually what I would recommend anyway, because when you're one note, people kind of start to tune it out. So it's good to be multidimensional with what you do anyway. So, you can post about the business you work with, and then you can post about the fact that this is my best practices as a marketer. This is what I do. And you don't have to make it like pitchy or salesy, but just inform people, kind of showcase your expertise. So it's almost like this kind of subtle promotion of yourself,
Right.
Go help people with it. When I do marketing, this is what I like to do with my clients, or that kind of a thing. And so it just helps people understand that that's what you do without being in their face, that you want them to buy from you, spend with you, that kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. That was very clarifying. Yes. Thank you. I appreciate
Oh, good.
I don't have any questions, but I just wanted to say that I have not utilized LinkedIn in a long time, and you've motivated me. So, so thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I've been doing it for a few years, and it's like, what's crazy too is that it's almost like planting the seed I actually posted about this recently because I've been really busy. And so I haven't been able to post as much, but it's almost like people have known what I do from past posting. It's like you're investing in something that will mature over time. So even if you don't get this initial hit, just being there, being present, it will actually mature. So you can actually just know that even if you don't get that initial, oh, everybody's responding to what I'm doing, like it will start to, progress.
I'm gonna agree with Jerry. And I'm just gonna say, I took a class on LinkedIn, so I kind of at one point got my profile going and used all the points, but then I forget about it. I can't spend as much time as social media and LinkedIn type things as I would like to because my job has so many aspects. But again, motivated by, I've been thinking recently some of the stuff we do would make more sense on LinkedIn to the audience on LinkedIn than on Facebook. And I just don't think to add that extra step in there. And I'm going to step that up and tell others to step it up there as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, the
Very
Facebook has really
informative.
become, oh good. Yeah, Facebook has really become this pay to play, right? They want you to buy their ads, and it's depressing. You put something out on your business page and you have like 1,000 followers and no one sees it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and you can really go in there and set a timer for 10 minutes, and just go down like the rabbit hole of social, right? So just set a timer so you don't get lost in it, but do what productivity coaches tell you not to do, and just kind of scroll and follow and comment and just let yourself kind of sink in. And just that injection of activity will help your visibility.
Dorothy, we can hold each other accountable.
Oh, that too. So I don't know if you've ever done this practice, because they'll tell you to do this in MLMs, because I was a part of one for a minute, but comment on each other's stuff. So that 100% helps. So if you post something or your company posts something, make sure that you tell other people in real life to go comment on it and react to it, because that will amplify and push out your content more.
That's cool. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
No, you mentioned video earlier, and
Mm-hmm.
I post a lot of links back to YouTube, which it seems absolutely no platform likes non-native links. They just don't. With LinkedIn, I used to see, and actually for a few minutes a while back, a couple of years ago, I think, had access to like LinkedIn Live, where you could go live for a bit.
Yeah.
But I've not seen any of that for a long time. Do they just want you to upload videos now, or does that LinkedIn Live still exist somewhere?
Some people have it. There's certain things that LinkedIn has almost tried to do because everybody else was doing it and it just didn't work. Live, I think, was one of them. The stories was one of them. The really ironic thing about LinkedIn is that when you post videos, they want you to natively post them to the feed, but then they don't go anywhere. So like you can't go to like your library of videos. They don't give you a library.
No.
So the irony is, if you post an article, like a native article on LinkedIn, and you want to embed a video, you actually have to use YouTube or Vimeo to embed the video in an article. It's ridiculous. Like they really need to give you a library of videos, and they don't. So that's kind of the weird thing. So yes, if you're posting video, it's good to do it natively in the feed. But then if you want to link it somewhere, or if you want to link it in your profile, it needs to be the third-party link.
Wow.
Makes no sense.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I agree.
Doesn't.
Now, do they still limit? Because I haven't actually posted a native video on LinkedIn in a while. Do they still limit it to a short amount of time, or
10 minutes?
10 minutes? Okay, that's good to know. Okay. Because I mean, on YouTube, I've got things that are hours upon hours long. And then of course,
just
like
the YouTube link for that one. Yeah, it's interesting. And go with what works for you. I've never really been a video person. I kind of have tried it out here and there, but I just like more of writing. It's more my style, writing and images and GIFs. I really love GIFs. That's one thing that they did that definitely works well. Love the GIFs.
Yeah, my kids hate that I've discovered GIFs. And I say my kids, they're all adults. I mean, our youngest is 22, but I'll GIF the holy living crud out of somebody.
Oh yeah.
GIF. I am a goofy GIFer.
Well, and well, one of the funny things is too, when that's just a part of your personality, it does tend to work well. So like I do GIFs and they tend to do well. And then the other thing to keep in mind, if you guys have a post that does really well, table it and post it again in a month or 2 months. You can switch up maybe the visual or switch up how you say it, but people will respond every time. Like whenever I post the lurker thing that I talked about, where people buy from you that you've never heard of, that always does well. If I post about LinkedIn being a dating site and that being disgusting, that always does well. The Facebook, seriously, people want to chime in. That's the thing too. Think about what do people want to chime in about? I had a client and we posted about a third-party app that was related to what she's doing as a business. It wasn't like a promo of the app, but it just talked about that she used it and was excited about it. Everybody wanted to chime in about it. And so they all had a comment. It's about it was related to weight loss. Everybody's chiming in about it. It ended up with almost 20,000 views. And then the app developer reached out in a private message asking her about a partnership.
Wow.
So think through what people want to respond to. That's why I will ask questions too. So like some of my best posts have been like, how do you take your coffee? Most recently, one that I did was because of the pandemic. Do you get up and shower to get ready to work downstairs? Or do you just get up and work downstairs and then shower later? Everybody had something to say. Well, what I do is blah, 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 blah. Well, I started doing this and then da, 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 da. And so it's like people love to talk about themselves. So it needs to be simple, not looking bad. So don't ask them who their worst boss was in time, because they're not going to tell you that.
Right.
But just simple things. And it can be very trivial. Like, do you have coffee or tea? And people will rip on you for not belonging on LinkedIn, but it's fun. Like, it's okay to be fun.
On that, I see that a lot in my feed. There are posts that are just so, it's business. And frankly, it's boring.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, I'll see things like fella that I ran into and met online quite by accident, Eric Burns. He's out of Oklahoma. And I've got family in Oklahoma. He said something that resonated one day, and now we get along really well, and we've never even met in person, but I've had him on a couple of shows and a few other things. And it's cool when someone does put up something that is just not about business. But when I see that, I do see a lot of people ripping on them. Oh, that doesn't belong here on LinkedIn. That belongs over on Facebook or on Instagram or on TikTok or on Twitter, or, get out of here with yourself on that. But it's interesting though, how, just like you said, how well overall those posts actually do.
Oh yeah. Well, and ironically, anyone that wants to create conflict, that'll just boost the post. So if you want to talk about something and create some sort of back and forth or some drama does great. So as soon as someone wants to be a troll, I mean, it'll just make the post go further. One that I did that was really good too was worst business cliches, or business cliches that make you want to lose your mind. That one was amazing. It was so much fun. Like, people came up with all, like, at the end of the day, and let's think outside the box. Like, everyone had something to say. It was awesome. I should do that one again.
I actually got an email the other day that a guy closed with, very soon, let's compare synergies.
Oh, I hate synergy.
Did you just learn the word? Did you want to whip out a $10 word at the end of your post just to prove? And so I used about a handful of $10 words in a response just for fun, but and paradigm. And I did use paradigm in my response along with a couple other things.
Yeah. I've created drama by stating that I think using regards is like telling somebody to whatever. And people will tell me that is not true. I use regards all the time and I'm very kind. And I'll be like, well, the way I've seen it is if someone's like regards.
Kindest regards is in my email signature on almost every email account I have.
Yep.
Maybe I'll change
a client
that.
of mine just added it to hers, but it's so funny because that's a fun one. So people will get into that and be like, I disagree. I think regards is a very lovely way to sign off an email. I'm like, well, whenever I see regards, I just think of someone going regards. Not kind regards. Actually, kind regards, no, just regards.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah,
you're fine.
If it's just regards, that does seem a little flippant. Regards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, with the Lions, when I worked there, people added regards when they were CCing 12 bosses and telling you where you could stick it. And then they would just end with regards. So that really stuck in my head.
Gotcha. I guess it depends on the culture and the words that you use within a work culture place.
It does.
So, this has been really very helpful for me, hopefully for everyone else too. I really appreciate this because again, I've been on LinkedIn. I think I got on it back in 2009. I don't know. It's been around for a long time. So I've been.
You guys are reminding me of all these posts I need to do again. I did one to see where the LinkedIn OGs were, and you can go in and see when you joined. And I wanted to see who joined the earliest, and I got a whole post going on that.
Oh, that's cool. And LinkedIn always was, oh no, that's your resume. Don't put anything.
Well, and they'd yell at you, they'd tease you because they'd have on there, how do you know Jerry? How do you know Jerry? Oh, I don't. You can't connect with that person. I'm like, well, then why did you give me the option? Just
right.
They just wanted to yell at you.
Now, what about LinkedIn Messenger and that? Because I like it, but I also hate it because every time I accept a new connection, it seems what you talked about earlier. I get that instant pitch that, hey, let's connect. Now buy all my stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way for me to just go, no, forget it. Never mind you. But at the same time, I will send links to videos, links to events, links to things to the people that I'm in there. I never ever go for a sell in that, but also only with the exception of a few people. I think I've got well over 1,000 connections in LinkedIn. And I usually don't accept the Zimbabwe prince or the, those kind of folks that are, ready to give me.
Well, one way to do it is kind of put it behind the gatekeeping of you can change your primary button from connect to follow, which especially if you end up generating a lot of content, that's worthwhile because people will want to follow you just for your content. And you'll start to get kind of a valley in between connections and followers. So for me, I think I'm almost at 7,000 connections, but I have like 23,000 followers.
Oh, wow.
So you'll start to get, because people can just hit follow. So then you get the benefit of them engaging your content without having to deal with them being able to message you.
Okay.
I just ignore people, to which also gives me ammunition. Like I've been meaning to post my next one. It's like, no, I'm not busy and missed your message. I'm just ignoring you. Like, people will send you three things and they're like, you must have not seen my message. I'm like, oh, I saw it, Steve. I'm not going to say anything. I don't need your website.
And I've actually replied that way because I get those too. Message. Oh, you must not have seen it. Saw it, didn't care for it, wasn't my thing. I'll give it to you for persistence. Good on you for being a persistent little beaver there. But, we'll build that dam, knock yourself out. But, stay away from my pond. But
Pete, can we be friends after this? I want to hang out with you. They're fun. I want to hang out. Make sure
awesome.
we engage
Absolutely.
on LinkedIn.
Okay, awesome.
No,
Just-
it's totally true. I've actually responded to people that they need to get a new automated tool because the one they're using is terrible. Like the one I showed in the presentation where the you don't get what I do right, or you're pitching me something I already do. The number of times I get lead generation pitches crack me up. I'm like, it's in my profile that I do that. Why are you pitching me what I do?
Yeah.
And so that's one of the reasons also that I really avoid automation, because it can just get you in trouble. Like as soon as you take it out of your control, you can just look really bad as a result. So
yeah, I can't stand the automation thing, and it does drive me nuts. But and I don't have that. I think I've got like a whopping 1,700 followers or something like that. It's not much, because again, I really haven't engaged on LinkedIn. Like I post there because it's so easy just to share a post. But I just stayed away from it because I was in HR for 30 years. So I used LinkedIn with relation to that industry. But as I faded away from that, I look at it and I don't really, that's why I've really enjoyed this very much, because I look at LinkedIn and I just really don't know what the heck to do with it, because I just look at it as an HR tool, whether it's recruiting or connecting with other HR people or very business. And I don't like I actually really detest the dryness.
Yeah, what's interesting too, though, is that I had somebody tell me yesterday, well, LinkedIn is just a bunch of sales pitches in your feed. The one interesting thing about LinkedIn is if you want to see a particular type of post, go seek them out and engage them, because your feed will start to be populated with that. Like I have been doing a lot of diversity and inclusion, and that's all my feed is right now. And then there were other times where, I was engaging with a lot of fellow marketers. And so all that was in my feed were people walking down the street, taking a selfie, talking to the camera.
Right.
And you just wanted them to run into a pole because that would be really funny. But yeah, so if you engage with certain things, it'll actually also populate your feed that way, which is the reverse engineer is what you're trying to do with your stuff, which is get people to engage yours so you keep popping up. And what you'll end up seeing, that's why you get your fan club, because the same people will keep getting served up your stuff every time you post, and then they'll get excited again and like it. Cool. So like Dave from so-and-so will always be the first person to like your stuff because they keep getting your post every time you post it.
Cool. Now, real quick, I know we're at 12:54 here, and real quick, what I would love for you, Chrissy, to do, if you would, is just tell people, because again, this is getting recorded. It will go up on our YouTube channel. It will go up on our Facebook page a little bit later, but just tell everybody how they can reach out to you and how they can connect with you for more information on how you can help with what you do.
For sure. Well, first connect with me on LinkedIn, which is my name, all one word at LinkedIn. So linkedin.com/in/Chrissie Zavicar. And then my business is eLink Consulting. So you just go to e-linkconsulting.com.
Got it. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions? Anything anybody want to mention? Or Christy, anything you want to say before we go ahead and let everybody actually go to their actual day?
Everybody connect with me. Make sure you connect.
Okay. I just clicked your follow button. So now I'm following
Beautiful.
you on LinkedIn.
Well, you can connect.
I don't, where do I do that?
3 dots. Go to the 3 dots. It's in the menu.
The 3 dots up.
Are you on desktop?
Yeah.
So there should be a 3 dots next to the, hold on, I gotta find somebody now. Hold on, now I'm finding everybody I'm already connected to.
There's an ad above your head that has 3 dots. And then
go to more.
Oh,
go to more.
More. Okay, more.
Yeah, the 3 dots is on mobile.
There's connect. Okay. Yeah. And then I click. I'll say here.
No, you don't have to say anything.
Well, I mean, you did a great job. So
I appreciate it.
great presentation. So thank you very
So, and
much.
if anyone wants to get anything commented on, send it to me. I'll give you a comment. Not that I'm anybody, but I will. I'll engage it.
Oh,
Ooh, I
everybody's
heard something.
somebody.
This is true.
Everybody's somebody. Otherwise, there'd be nobody, and we'd all be really, really by ourselves and kind of bored. So there
This
you
is
go.
true.
We'd be on a planet of one. That might not be that bad on some days, though.
That's true. We should start a podcast, Pete. Let's do a podcast.
I actually own an internet radio station.
Of course you do.
So, yeah, outside of the chamber. But yeah,
Makes sense.
podcasts can be, well, that's how a lot of our shows actually started. So, but
Love it.
in fact, shoot me a note and we'll talk more about that. Meanwhile, Ellen, Laís, Lori, Stephanie, thank you for hanging in here, and to everybody else who was here. Thank you guys so much for joining.
Thank you. It's
today.
really nice.
Thanks, guys. It was fun.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you.
Oh, Chrissy, can I ask you a dumb question? How did Molly find you or Pete find you? I mean, you're from Michigan, right?
I am. I was a part of Robin Walker's Lakeside Conference, and Robin is in.
Okay, I know
Illinois.
Robin. Okay, all right.
Mhm.
She's
Just before the world shut down. It was
Okay.
March of 2020.
It's small world, right?
Mhm.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Yeah, it was good meeting everybody.
Yes,
Awesome.
good meeting everybody.
All right, take care. Have a wonderful
Okay,
day.
bye.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Pete, how many people are going to the scramble?